Hey everyone, welcome back to another exciting episode of Attacker Productions. Today, I, Bancroft, am being joined once again by Fluff as we go over the green cards for Battle Evolution Booster.
Hey, what's up, people?
So, like always, before we get into it, hit those buttons because they're there for a reason. So might as well just click them, right? Sure. Okay. So,
Yeah.
Battle Evolution Booster is really cool in the instance that we're getting more World Tournament stuff again. Something that's been left out, just kind of in the dust, sitting there by itself. We got a couple of promos, but then it kind of continues sitting there, and that's about it. So now,
I think by right we should have had Tanner here, but we're recording super late, and knowing his work schedule, like he's got to be excited for this stuff.
oh, I completely agree. So they drop as right now 14 cards for green. So we're gonna go over those cards and kind of give our takes and our opinions. And do we believe they're good? Hopefully, if they're not, that sucks. And give us your takes as well. Like, are you excited for at least the green set? Is any of these you think is gonna be good for other decks? So, all right. So we finally got ourselves a TN leader, which is really awesome because people have been asking for that for a very long time, and we're getting it finally. So TN, when the card attacks, it draws one card. Then you can add one card from your life to your hand. So it's a game 2, kind of like Stormfist. Oh my God, Stormfist Krillin. And then activate main. You can only do this once per game. You could go ahead and pull a Chaozu, a green Chaozu with a power of 5,000 from your deck to your hand and shuffle your deck afterwards. Now, potentially on your first turn, if you go second, that's a 3-card advantage, which is pretty cool, and it helps you self-awaken against slow decks.
Yeah, and self-awakening is super strong, especially when you're able to dictate when you awaken. If you're playing a super aggro deck, you of course don't have to choose the add up to 1 card, and can choose to play a little more defensively. But these leaders always tend to focus well. I mean, if you look at stuff like Red Brawly is good because it really modulates how fast it awakens.
Yeah. And what I also find interesting is that the leader self-awakens very quickly, which is nice. The pullback, it's not really much of a draw though, but when your life is 4 or less, you can play 3 multi-form tokens into your battle area, which are 10,000 battle cards with 5,000 combo power. And you can switch 1 energy to active mode. So, depending on if you're getting pushed by a super aggro deck, you can awaken on your opponent's turn if you have to. I mean, I know it's not the best thing to do, but then you have 3 new things to combo with.
When you consider kind of like 10,000 battle power or 5,000 combo power, each of those are essentially 1 energy worth of card, or 1 energy worth of action. So his awaken skill is really a net 4 in energy economy.
Yeah.
And it seems kind of weird, but like usually most leaders awaken 1, which it would be like draw 1, tap 1, or unstand 1 energy. So you'd get your 1 draw, which might be a 5,000 combo. This is just giving you 3. So for people that are kind of on the fence about this not drawing, try to think about it that way. It is a net energy efficient move that really nets you more. Even if the 1 card that you drew were a super combo, this is still more combo power than that 1 card you could have drawn.
Yeah. All right, so I don't know why I scroll down. All right, so
yeah, we have to see the back.
So on the back side, once again, this card still keeps its draw feature, but now it gains 5,000 power. So now it's a 20k when it swings on a backside, which is pretty cool. Then auto, if you have a total of 3 Tien Shinhan cards and or multi-form tokens in play in your battle area, when this card attacks, choose one of your opponent's battle cards with an energy cost of 4 or less and KO it, then this card gains crit. So not only does it get a 5k boost, but as long as you have 3 of these things on your field, it could pop a 4-drop card and gain crit. Now, it does say choose up to, so even if they don't even have battle cards, as long as you have what you need, it's getting crit.
I mean, this is really also akin to like the set 1 Brawly. That is a draw, pop a card, make your opponent discard a card. This is it's effectually the same economy because the leader's getting 5,000. So consider that a +1 for you. Plus you're getting critical. So your opponent is super motivated to waste cards to get out of this. Plus you could be popping a card. Yeah. So it really is very similar to that set 1 Brawly as far as what it can do. There is that, condition there of having to have 3 TN or 3 multiforms on the field. We'll see. As far as I'm aware, there's a couple TN cards that play multiform tokens. Hopefully there's some stuff below that gets us there.
Yeah. So going down to the launch Unison, which is pretty cool because this Unison also could work with the heroine cards. So for activate main for 2 energy, that amount with energy is just for 2 energy. If your leader card's heroine card, play this card from your hand with 2 markers on it. So it's practically the same thing as it would be in a green deck where you pay 2 green energy. There you go. Now, the only thing about that though is, if I'm correct, the World Martial Art leader, the announcer leader, makes all World Martial Arts cards no Pacific cost, right?
Correct.
That does not affect the Unisons.
Does not. And right, because this does not have World Martial Arts tags or heroine tags on it. So, the fact that they wanted that to fit in this archetype, so they gave it that activate main as an alternate win condition. The big downside is you couldn't pay 3 energy to put this out. You have to play it at 2.
Yeah. Which
makes it a little more vulnerable in a heroine style deck. But nonetheless, it's cool that this Unison is very dual piston card.
So for 1 marker gain, you can look up the top 5 cards of your deck and add up to 1 World Tournament or heroine card among them to your hand or your deck afterwards. So it's a good way of searching for your cards, especially if you have a deck that's specifically themed to either one of those. And then for -1, choose any number of your opponent's battle cards whose total energy cost adds up to 3 or less and KO them. So in a World Martial Arts and a World Tournament deck, they had cards always you played this and it plays this and it plays that. And a lot of times the Black Mass Saiyan can hurt that. So you can just get rid of problem cards, against a Topo Lock deck, which I know it's not super big out there, but Chappelle's is a big thing, especially now with Mecha Frieza getting U on his symbol. -1, kill him.
Well, and against stuff like Black Brawly, where you're able to clean up some of the Ba that are on the field, or Blue after they've dropped in a Booney. You don't get to pop the Abooni, but you to get rid of the tokens, which essentially protect the Abooni.
Yep.
So, if you had this, you could -1, clean up the tokens, pop something else if it's on the field, swing with leader, pop the Abooni. It's a really nice combo for kind of cleaning that up, and it doesn't seem like it's too terrible to set up.
So I'm liking this so far.
Yeah, it's interesting. I like it.
All right.
Up next, we've got the Sun Goku, the long-awaited rematch. So this kind of is very reminiscent of that World Martial Arts theme booster 2 that we got. He's a 4-drop, unique barrier, 15,000, permanent. If your leader has 3 or more energy and you have a Tien Shinhan, the long-awaited rematch in play in your battle area, this card gets plus 10,000 power and triple strike. Auto for 1 green energy. If all of your energy is green and you have a green battle card in play this card from your hand, then add up to 1 card from your life to your hand.
I mean, if all your energy is green, you have a green battle card in play.
That seems super easy to do.
Turn 2? I mean, if you wanted to?
Yeah, easily. If you dropped a 1-drop Searcher, if the Chaozu is green, you play that, then turn 2, you can play this.
Now, Grant, you won't get the TN boost from it because your opponent has to have 3 or more energy. But, I mean, you can still get it dropped early. All right, let's go to its partner real quick.
We've got Tien Shinhan, the long-awaited rematch. It's a 5-drop, 20,000, deflect, double strike. Permanent, this card cannot be played from any area by skills other than its own. So this will prevent the reboot announcer leader from playing it out. Just kind of throwing that out there. Auto, when this card is played, choose all of your opponent's battle cards with energy costs of 5 or less and KO them. Activate main for 2 green energy. If you have a Sun Goku, the long-awaited rematch in play this card from your hand. So you're essentially potentially putting this guy on the field turn 2, turn 3, turn 2 if you awaken.
But Goku has barrier, so you can get out there and turn earlier.
The TN has deflect, so the TN is not going to be respondable to. So if you can get that Goku out early, your opponent is probably going to have a difficult time getting over that, and then you're dropping the TN, and then your opponent can't respond to it.
Yeah.
So charismatic villain can't touch any piece of this combo. I don't.
No, charismatic villain will touch TN.
It will hit the TN on it because it doesn't have barrier. Okay, sorry. But I like that auto when this card is played. Choose all of your opponent's battle cards with energy costs of 5 or less and KO them. So it's not battle cards equaling up to energy cost 5.
Yeah, it's a 2-cost board wipe practically early game.
Right. Yeah, it's really early. Also, notice this card does not have unique, and it does not specifically state if this card is not on the field. So this is a really cheap, efficient, unrespondable, in under most situations, to storm the field with a TN that's relevant. 20,000 double strike for 2 energy with deflect that blows the field up potentially is not bad by any stretch.
Just gotta keep that Goku alive.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
So the Chaozu that the leader had mentioned early on is the unwanted. Wait, no, this is not the Chaozu.
It is, because it's at 5,000 or less.
Did it say 5,000 or less?
It was 5,000 or less. Yep.
All right. So Chaozu, the unwanted reunion. It's a blocker for 1 energy. Also, if your leader card is green TN, when this card is KO, add up to 1 card from your life to your hand. Play up to 1 green TN card with energy cost of 3 from your deck. Then shuffle your deck. The card you play, then shuffle your deck. The card you played with the skill can't attack until the end of your next turn. So obviously, whatever you drop, it just sits there, but it gets you another body on the board. It's also a self-awakening. Once again, so potentially, if you went second, turn 1, you pull this out, you play it, you swing, you take a life. Your opponent swings. If it's a crit, you block with Chaozu, then you take a life anyways.
You're guaranteed to find it because of the leader's ability.
Yeah.
So that's really awesome. I was going to do a quick search real quick for green TNs that are energy cost 3.
I'm sure there's one coming up.
That's possible. I'm going to look if you want to move on to the next card while I do so.
Mercenary Towel. All right, so Mercenary Towel, for 1 green energy, it's an auto. Place this card in its owner's drop area. When this card deals damage to your opponent by attacking, play up to 1 green Mercenary Towel with an energy cost of 4 from your deck, with its skills negated for the turn. Then, of course, shuffle your deck afterwards. Activate main for this one, though, is that if you have a green World Tournament card in play, play this card from your hand, then choose up to one of your opponent's. Choose up to one of you and your opponent's battle cards with an energy cost of 1 or less and KO it. You can't activate this activate main skills for skills on copy of this card for turn.
Yeah. So this
will kill the Chaozu.
Yeah. And basically what these are building towards is this is specific tutoring for the Mercenary Tau TN card that we got in the World Martial Arts Tournament. And actually the 3-drop TN that I believe it's referring to, there were 2. There's one from Union Force, which is a TN, which is the free play combo. If your leader card is green and then activate main, choose 1 card in your life, place it in the drop area, choose 1 card in your life, add it to your hand, then choose 1 battle card and KO it. So it's a super self-awakener. Or there's the World Martial Arts Tournament 3-drop TN trading moves, which will pair with the Mercenary Tau. So he's barrier, activate main, choose 1 Mercenary Tau card in your battle area, KO it. If your leader card is a green World Martial Arts Tournament, switch this card to active mode. It gains 5,000 power and double strike. So it's basically a way to tutor out that TN, and then this seems like it tutors out the Tau.
Yeah, which is pretty nice.
It's very nice because they were a really good combo of cards that really worked well with each other. They just were never efficient to play.
Yeah.
So this makes it heavily efficient.
All right. So now we got some new Broly stuff.
Yeah, we've got
this
Broly.
Is OG.
Yeah, very OG. Looks like it's supposed to support the set 1 Broly archetype.
Yeah.
So Broly, the Swift Berserker, 4 cost, 15,000 for 2 specified green. And then it's got an auto for 1 green energy. When this card is played, you may choose 1 of your opponent's battle cards, KO it. If you do, you may choose 1 mono green Broly card with an evolved skill in your hand and play it on top of this card. That's a very good effect, by the way. Very good. Activate main for 1 green. If your leader is mono green and you have 3 or more energy, you may choose 1 of your mono green battle cards with an energy cost of 1 and Broly in its character's name, or a mono green extra card with an energy cost of 1 and the filled skill and place it in its owner's drop area. If you do, play this card from your hand.
And that field will replay itself because of its auto, because it's by a battle card that you own.
Yes. So it's a cheap way to play itself, but then notice that it says choose one of your mono green battle cards with an energy cost of 1 and Brawly in its character's name. That includes the Brawly BR cards from set 6.
Yes.
So you can play the Brawly, which is Self-Awakening, and then you can use this to pop this. That could potentially play the other 4-drop Brawly BR.
It's also referring to the 1-drop Broly that searches the top 7 cards of your deck for a Broly card.
Right. The whole point is that it's not limited to just Brawlies. Yeah. It can include Brawly BR, or if there ever is like a Brawly Zeno that's a 1-drop green. I know there's not right now, but in the future, potentially. And then the evolved targets that this guy can grab are so numerous. I'm not even going to search it, but I know there's a 6-drop, there's a 7-drop, there's an 8-drop, there's, I think, another 7-drop, there's a couple 4-drops, a 5-drop. Like, there's so many that work off this, and a lot of them are kind of like in that high energy range, like 4 or 3 to evolve from. So this is really, it's a really nice way to access cards that were before unmanaged.
Yeah.
And the one that I'm thinking of specifically is the set 6 Brawly Berserker that was meant for the set 1 Brawly stuff, but released at the same time as the Brawly BR stuff. You know what I'm talking about?
No, not top of my head. I don't, actually. The one that comes to my head is the set 1 6-drop Broly, because when it's played, it deals your opponent has to discard 2 cards from hand.
Yeah, it was in set 6, and I think it was set 6 anyway. It was a super rare, and it was just kind of oddly placed in the middle of set 6, and people were like, why did we get this card? It's pointless. It doesn't do shit. It's not playable to any degree, and it's called Brawly the Supreme Berserker, 7-drop, evolve, 2 green energy, 3 energy, and then 3 so 5 energy to evolve from a Brawly. Critical barrier, once per turn, burst 5. When this card attacks, if your leader card is a Brawly card, choose 1. If your opponent has 3 or less cards in their hand, switch this card to active mode. If your opponent has 4 or more cards in the hand, they reveal their hand, choose 1 card from it, and your opponent places it in the drop area.
Sheesh.
And he's a 30,000 body.
So that's pretty good.
Yeah,
we got a new 1-drop, though, which auto add 1 card from your life to your hand. When this card attacks, it gains 11,000 power per turn. So it's just it's a good old self-awaken again. Like, I don't think set 1 Broly needs self-awaken cards, but it definitely helps. For 1 green energy, if your leader card is mono green Broly card, when this card is in your battle area, when this card in your battle area is placed in its owner's drop area by a skill or KO, choose up to 1 mono green Broly card with energy cost of 4 or less and play it. So, if you were awakened, like if you use this card like to awaken yourself, then you flip over, you swing at the leader, you choose this card instead of the field card to be KO'd, 8 turn on drops this 4-drop.
Well, the Brawly that we just looked at KOs this guy, plays itself, and then that card, the 1-drop Brawly, lets you play another 4-drop Brawly.
Yeah.
So you're essentially, for 2 energy, getting 2 4-drops on the field. That's insanity.
So,
like, there's so much value in this. Like, do not sleep on this. This will be very good. Brawly does not need the self-awakening, but this will be super good.
The 4-drop procs itself, and this procs another 4-drop, and there's no unique on those.
Right. There's no unique. So, and there are a ton of other really good Brawlies that are in like the 3 to 4 range that these can play off of. I wish like I had prepared a little bit and created a list of all these, but with work, I didn't have a chance to really go through these and read them. So, I mean, there's a ton of possibilities there.
Wow. Okay. Nice. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Let's go on to the next thing, which is Rubian.
Yeah. So we got Rubian, the power support, 4 cost for 2 specified green, 20,000, unique double strike. Permanent, this card can't be played from skills, or can't be played by skills from any area. And then auto, when this card is played, choose 1 green Kakunsa, 1 green Rosie with energy costs of 4 or less from your deck, or drop area with their skills negated for the turn. Then shuffle your deck if you look through it. You can only play mono green cards for the rest of the game. This is a big investment play for green. It's very respondable. 4 energy is a lot for green to invest. As you kind of saw, you were playing Slug tonight, and you kind of saw how much like those big energy expenditures can really eat your ass in the middle of the game.
Yeah.
And this doesn't have deflect. It's not respondable. I don't know if this is going to be the best way to put a Kakunsa and Rosie on the field. Probably the worst card we've reviewed so far, in my opinion.
It plays the new Rosie card.
Yeah.
Which gets triple attack, I think, when it's played.
For sure. I think it's, yeah, I think so.
And there's a Kakunsa that has, is it double strike or dual attack?
Dual attack.
So, I mean, there's a lot of hits there going on, but you're right. Like, if they can't play this card, like if they go to play this and it gets counterplayed, it's gone, you know?
You're just floating at that point.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it would be better if maybe this had deflect or barrier so it wasn't totally vulnerable. You know, tapping 4 energy to a vulnerable card does not feel good in the current state of the game to me.
Also, I just realized, like, if you're running this, you can't run overwhelm cards.
Yeah.
Because if you were to play this, you can only play mono green cards for the rest of the game.
It locks you out of Xeno Cell. It locks you out of a lot of different cards, like good green-red strategies. It locks you out of good blue-green strategies or other yellow-green. I don't know. Not a fan of this one. Didn't like it as much.
Well, let's go to her awakened form.
Which is enough a 1-drop.
Pretty Cannon Unleash.
Yeah.
So a lot of tech. Okay, so unique auto. When this card is played, look up top 5 cards top of your deck, add 1 Green Universe 2 card or 1 Heroine card among them to your hand and shuffle your deck afterwards. Then activate main. Once returned, burst 2 for 1 energy. If your leader card is green or a Heroine card and you have 3 or more green energy, play up to 1 Green Universe 2 card with energy cost of 3 or less from your deck with a character name from any battle card you have in play, then shuffle this deck. That's not that bad, though.
This is much better than the 4-drop that we just looked at.
Now, we did talk about this a little bit when we went over the new theme cards and how we said that the Bulma leader only mentions, like, it pretty much mentions the Universe 7 characters.
Yes.
Yep. And so, like, that's why here it states, and you have 3 or more green energy. So, yes, you could use, unless they're obviously giving us another heroine leader, you're using the Bulma leader, but your deck's in completely green, you know?
And one thing that I really wish that we would have got, and it doesn't seem like we're going to get in this theme booster, is a new Universe 2 leader. I think the only one that we have at this point is the one from Tournament of Power. And to be truthful, that leader was burnt. It was outdated. Even when it was released, it just didn't compete with the stuff that was coming out in set 4 or even some of the leaders that were featured in set 3. It just did not compete with them. And it definitely can't compete. It doesn't do enough. It doesn't put in enough work. So you're kind of, if you were shooting for a themed deck of like having a Universe 2 leader with these cards, and I don't think we are going to get that leader rebooted, at least in this set. Yeah. That's kind of disappointing. And so far, the only heroine leader that we've seen is black.
Yeah. So let's go on to the next one. A 1-drop Kakunsa, Feral Fury. Unique auto. When you play this card, draw 1 card. Activate main once returned. Burst 2. If your opponent has 8 or more cards in their hand and 3 or more energy, this card gets plus 16,000 power and double strike until the start of your next main phase. So I mean, for a 1-drop, that's a 20k double strike. That's not really that bad.
This is essentially the green equivalent of Basil, Fatal Rampage, that we got in Draft Box 2. I love these types of cards. I 8 or more cards in hand for your opponent in a green deck that may want to lean into discard may make this more difficult to achieve as far as this condition.
I mean,
but it definitely gives green a good way to go if they ever decide to impact hand control plays.
Or early game against a Unison.
Yeah, or use this to aggro Unison. I think this is a wonderfully designed card. I don't think that effect is overpowered by any means. I don't think it's impossible to achieve. I actually like this card. I think it's great.
All right, and we got ourselves another Rosie.
This one's been the contention amongst our local group.
We talked about this one already. Yeah. We talked about this one in our last video. Yeah,
so this is Rosie Blast Manipulator. It's a 3-cost for 3 specified green energy, 15,000 deflect. Your leader card is green or a heroine. When you play this card from your hand, your opponent chooses 2 cards in their hand, discards them. This card gains triple attack for the turn.
Yeah. I did speak to Jimmy about it. In his opinion, he agrees with us. Like, we don't think it's that big of an issue. Like, yeah, it's a 15k triple attack, but like every color has ways of dealing with it. And it's a lot of energy for green to go off. Like you mentioned earlier, I'm playing Slug right now, the new Slug, because I played it this last locals today, and
green's a lot. 3 is a lot in green.
It is, but for example, like in Slug on turn 3 with 3 energy, I could still potentially play like 7 to 9 battle cards almost.
Yeah,
I think it's 7. With only 3 energy. That, of course, involves me awakening during that turn, but still.
And I truthfully think that 3 energy for a triple attack that discards 2 is very, 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 very fair.
Yeah.
It's very... it is a lot for 3 energy.
By no means is this card a bad card. It's definitely a great card. I think it's designed well, in my honest opinion.
It's got a fantastic balance.
I feel like it's, at least in our circle, it's getting a lot more what the fuck vibes than it needs to.
A lot of people are afraid of this card, for sure.
Then again, they're used to playing against completely hand-controlled decks lately that are green.
Yeah.
Like, I think what I played today was the first non-green hand-controlled they've came across in a while, so.
Yeah. And this fits in well with hand control strategies. I mean, you're paying 3 energy to rip 2 cards out of the hand, then put pressure on the field.
Yeah.
And if you think about other cards that are triple attack featured cards, they usually cost 4 to 5 energy for triple attack.
Yeah.
So, this is 3 energy. It is truthfully a lot, but there's plenty of ways to deal with this card. And this card works counterintuitively against the Kakunsa that we just went over.
I think if you play this card on turn 3, you have to be awakening on turn 3 as well, so you have energy to do other things.
Yeah, you have to, at least to prevent the crackback.
Yeah. I mean, granted, green has access to the potential, which stops. I mean, it just knocks down the 1 to 2 attacks, sure, and you can free play the Frieza to stop to get rid of a card as long as you have a Unison. But if you don't have access to a Unison, please do not play this card unless you know you can win or you're able to awaken that turn.
Yeah, you are. If you tap out to play this card and you can't beat your opponent, you are just begging to get crackbacked on, and that's kind of what I think makes this a good card.
All right, so let's go and get to the next card. We're starting to push time, unfortunately.
We are pushing time.
We talked about that card a lot already. All right, so we got something new Negate, which is Goku Solar Flare. It's a Negate. Activate mana for leader cards, Green Sun Goku, or a World Tournament card. Choose up to 4 of your opponent's battle cards, and those cards can't activate blocker skills for the turn. If you have a Green Sun Goku card in play, you draw 1 card. This is really great, especially against a deck that's very defensive and can protect itself. You're like, you know what? I'm going for game, and you're not stopping me.
And also, like, blocker appears at the weirdest times in formats. Like, look at last format. We had Bulma that just spit out blockers. Yeah. Green and red are both putting out blockers. Blue has blockers. Yellow has blockers. Like, you just never know when this card is going to be great. So this is going to be one of those cards. If you're in the future, if you're playing a green Goku, specifically what I have in mind, if you're playing a green Goku, this is probably a card that you want to evaluate. Is my local meta or the national meta scene influenced by decks that play blockers? If the answer to that question is yes, this card is at least worth a spot in the sideboard.
Yeah. And I love negates that have 2 effects. Like, so you get to play this during your opponent's turn or during your turn. I think that's great. And if you play during your turn, and if you play during your turn, you're potentially drawing a card off it too. So
Absolutely.
All right.
And then we've got, I think this might be the last one.
It is.
It's Homicidal Clones for 2 energy.
It's amazing.
This is do you want to read this one? You seem excited.
Counterattack. If your leader card is mono green, negate the attack. Then play 1 meta token. Meta tokens have 5,000 power, 0 combo cost with a 5,000 combo power. That token gains blocker for the turn. When your life is 5 or less, you can activate this card's counter skill from your hand by adding 1 card from your life instead of playing the energy cost. So it's practically a sparking negate for Slug.
I'm gonna take it that you were excited to read that card.
I played Slug today. Like this is another way of negating yourself while applying more stuff on the board to combo with later, or you can just block with it. Like normally the Mida tokens, Mida, I think that's how you pronounce it. Actually, I think I said meta earlier. Maybe it is meta, but
I think it is meta.
They don't normally have blocker. This gives that said 1 blocker, so it's another negate that has a way of stopping. It's like the Zamasu super combo. Like if your opponent swings at you and they say no combo, cool, super combo, tap that card down. So it stopped the pressure on you and it stopped another card from attacking. Or like Afterimage, I'll boost this card, my leader up or whatever card, but I'm going to neg the other card down now. So that way if you want to swing with that one, you have to do more pressure. Like I love cards that can stop an attack and then potentially stop another attack.
Yeah, this card is, and this is another one of those like flexible cards. Don't want to take a crit? Fine. Do I need to just have another card on the field? Fine. Yeah. Do I not want to take double strike? Fine. Are they going to be able to follow this play up with a bigger swing that I might want to have a blocker for if I burn the negate here? Great. And the fact that you don't have to have an energy open, yes, you are sacrificing the 1 life, but that is going to lead to more flexibility and choice when sequencing through your turns.
So, that being said, that is definitely the last of the green. And if I'm correct, I think we went over it yesterday. The new set has, I think this is 68 new cards. If I'm correct, this is all the green cards that are coming to us.
Yeah, I think we're going to get between 14 and 15 cards per color.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we have seen the reprint list for green. We didn't go over that. It's a bunch of Draft Box 1, Draft Box 2, World Martial Arts stuff. So it's good stuff, though. Like we said yesterday, this is a ton of good value. I mean, just kind of from my perspective, looking in at this, like, this is really cool, good stuff. I mean, you look at that Brawly stuff. The value on that Brawly reminds me of like Goku Oob from World Martial Arts Tournament.
Oh yeah,
where it's just value on value, and then the Chaozu Tien Mercenary Tao, it makes that chain playable, and that chain has never truthfully been playable up until now.
So
super cool.
Super excited for the new set. When the next set of colors drop, we will definitely make a video about that and giving our takes and potentially kind of predictions what you could do with those cards, like how we did today. So if you all enjoyed that, like I said earlier, hit those buttons because they're there for a reason. And you know what? I'm done begging for it. All right, Fluff, will you lead us out?
I'm not done begging for it. Hit those damn buttons. Read your cards, know your plays. Tune in next week. I think we're going to reveal the next color that comes out. And as always, fluff the fuck out.